Alright y'all, so this is going to be just a kind of a quick clip of I'm trying to figure out an exhaust for this car. Sorry if you hear the truck run in the background. It hasn't ran for a few months, so gotta let that thing get warm. Anyway, so I ended up getting this pipe from AutoZone, and it's a 2.5 inch outer diameter, 2.5 inner diameter, 2.5. So it's got these like little bows on them. So these 2-bolt manifold flanges came with the actual those manifolds I put on there. So I was able to line it up in the car. I'll probably show you obviously once I get this done. And I got our little paint marks here. I didn't have a Sharpie or anything like that, but they're gonna have to kind of go something like that, kind of line up with each other. Don't mind this paint mark up here I missed, but these two down here. So I got the welder hooked up. I'm gonna just try to tack some of these in there, and then honestly we'll try and, you know, weld this thing all the way around. I don't know how confident I am in this, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's gonna take us a couple tries here. We don't want to burn through the metal, you know, which looks like we kind of did. Kind of starting to get something there. If we can work that all the way around, that'd be nice. Just gotta build a bead up around it, I guess. Stop being scared. Looks like we're doing something. Definitely looks like some baked taters, but I think it's gonna work for what we're doing. I feel like our wire speed's a little fast. So, I probably should have did this before, but whatever. Get that sticker off and stuff. Oh man, that thing's still hot. Whew! Not hot, but I don't think I'll be able to hold it for long. Now, it's not really the best. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me look. Yeah, it's not good at all. But they're starting to do a little bit okay on the back part here, but we still got this whole front section to do. Just, and then I blew that hole through there, so what I'm gonna have to do is probably grind this flat here because we got to put a bolt there. But, yeah, hopefully, we can finish going around this thing, and, well, then we'll have to try to figure out where we're gonna put our actual, O2 bung in this. Well, you guys, I will be 100% honest with you. This is like literally my first time like actually welding a piece of like exhaust pipe to something. I've practiced a little bit on just like extension pieces like this guy. This guy like slid into another one, you know. I practiced on that, just welding them together. I also learned a trick from Sleeper Dude, where it's like if you're MIG welding and all I have is flux core, that's what I'm using on this. That's why it's pretty splattery. I do have a tank of gas, but when I was doing it, I literally couldn't figure out how to get the mixture right. So I've just used flux core on this. But honestly, it's gonna get the job done. I mean, it's gonna work for what we gotta do. It seems pretty sturdy. I guess time will tell, but all I gotta do is grind this little spot here so that the bolt will sit in there flush. But I mean, first time welding exhaust to something with a flux core MIG welder, this cheap little Lincoln, I'll take it. You know, just take your time. What Sleeper Dude said was you kind of just, you know, weld in there a bit, almost like you're tack welding. Wait, go a little more, go a little more, go a little more, and just keep continuing that tack weld. And then you can kind of start to get like a little bit of a bead almost, but with flux core it's kind of hard. I think when he was welding with, he had gas and all that kind of stuff, but this is just flux core, so I think this is gonna work great. So I'm gonna grind that down and we'll see what it looks like after. Seems like enough room. So I kind of fit this up on the car here. I'm gonna try to attempt to weld this. I took an old non-fouler from like this would be on like a carbureted engine or something, and cut it so that we got a spot to fit our O2 in. So because an O2 sensor will thread into these. Thank you, Sleeper Dude, for letting me know that. So I'm gonna try to tack this in place and then weld it the heck on. Well, y'all, surely ain't nothing pretty, but I think it's gonna work. Here's our O2 sensor. And I had to run this in there. I sprayed it with some PB Blaster because if I do the other side, this is like how the fouler kind of looks. I think I'm gonna leave a little bit of a ridge on here because I don't know, I wanted the O2 sensor as far in the exhaust as possible, but I think it's still going to get hit with the exhaust at least. But the problem is when I just kind of cut it to where this nut was, the weld kind of went through and then got into the thread. So luckily, a little bit of PB Blaster, and I didn't have a tap that big to fit in this hole. Running the actual O2 sensor in there seemed to work. So for the future, I'll just leave a little ridge on here so I can weld to that instead of welding to the actual nut. And to be honest with you, the whole reason why we're doing this, one, I've always kind of want to try to make my own exhaust. Now this obviously isn't going to be the prettiest, but we're going to make it work. Kind of on the Firebird, I just want something going out and kind of just, almost just something straight pipe and then a muffler with something going out of the side almost. I don't really want to go all the way to the back of the car. But honestly, the main reason is, one, we're trying to save money, because literally there was these flanges came with those manifolds that I bought, and they sell these reducers that you can buy for the actual for those manifolds, and they're like $78. I just made this for, obviously with weld and whatever, you know, you had to have rod, but I can't remember the last time I bought flux core. I just made this for probably, I don't remember how much this stuff was, but I probably made this just for like $12, and it's gonna get me to where I need it to be, like underneath the car actually. So $12, and then we'll probably, for the other one, we'll spend, you know, $10 maybe, and we got something that's gonna work for that. Perfect. You know, I can't complain about that. Saving money is the one fun part of working with cars, is when you can make something work and save money at the same time. So that's kind of why we're doing this. All right. So kind of, obviously we're probably going to be doing fuel system next, but then I started messing with exhaust because I had some pieces and stuff like that. And my welds turned out somewhat okay. So this is kind of where we're at now. But I'm kind of here on the car, and I had this guy mounted up on the manifold, and what I kind of want to do, from what I can tell, is our manifold is right up here. So I'd like this to come out and come out this way right here. See this little notch in here? Nothing there. I'd like that to come this way and then kind of run all the way along that way, because then just have like a muffler tucked up in here somehow, some way, and then a pipe out the back. So I got this piece here. I'm gonna have to buy another 90. I just cut this with a Sawzall because that's all I had. Maybe when we get home we can kind of trim that up and make it straight. If not, we're gonna weld it into each other. And I'm gonna try to bolt this up there and then make a 90, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. All right, so you can probably see that pipe coming down. I got that bolted up so it's nice and tight. So you can kind of see, like, I'd like this to come right through here. And you can kind of tell, like, that doesn't really give us that much of a turn. Maybe if we do this side, yeah, see this side's a little bit more aggressive at the angle of it. If we had something like that, we'd almost even need something like that, but it just needs to go tuck up in here a lot better, you know. I wish I would have had my cutting wheel with me, because I'd probably pie cut it here and try to bend it together, you know, so it tucks up in here more. So bend it in, and then we'll weld it along that seam, and then we can try to tuck it up in here, because, like, maybe if we even did something like this, we're definitely gonna need to kind of pie cut this thing though, to get that angle. Yeah, if we did it just like this and then pie cut it here along it and pull it in, then we can almost get a little bit more tuck in here, because to me it's not too big of a deal for it to be hanging low, as long as it's not as like low as the oil pan or whatever. But we want to get it up in here so that we can kind of, I don't know, tuck that freaking muffler up in here. But we're definitely gonna have to pie cut that. All right, so we're back at my house. I guess I'm gonna attempt to take a chunk out of this to kind of bring these two ends together. I'm gonna start small, because you don't want it to be, you know, freaking huge, and then, you know, you could still put some back, but I always believe in the thing of, you can always take more, you can't ever put it back, you know. In a certain aspect, in this you can weld it back, but in terms, my welding's not that good, so it's going to be stressful if I have to put it back. So I'm just going to take a little at a time and see what we can do. You guys that leave your gloves in the garage, give them a good squeeze. every time before you use them. There may be a spider or something in there. Don't want to get bit by something, you know? All right, so like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. I wish I had something to hold this thing, but I don't. So I'm thinking we're going to actually go all the way to the end to get any type of flex out of this. I don't think this is far enough, but it moves in a little bit. Kind of cut like a piece of pie almost. So follow this line and kind of give it room to close, if you get what I'm saying. All right, so that's kind of what we're left with. I'm gonna need to put another glove on here. See, that's a little bit more. If we can push this guy together here, see how much more of a... I think we may have to cut further in. Wonder if we weld that like this, how it is. The worst case, we'll just tack it, you know, and then we'll take it over to my grandma's where the Firebird is, and we'll actually see if you know, that's going to be good enough. Like I said, you can always take more. It's kind of hard to put it back, especially when you're messing with exhaust, because there's kind of a big old clump of weld and stuff. So I may you know, keep it like this, tack it together, take it over there, and see how much I like it. Remember, we're all learning here. I've never done something like this. This is my first time, so I'm just trying to take it as slow as possible. It may take longer, but maybe worth it, you know? All right, so you could probably just barely see what's going on there, but get you a little better view, possibly, and I don't have to try to work around you. So we got our two pieces, one here, one here. So we're gonna line up our paint mark. Remember we were talking about before. And that guy kind of comes here. And then this guy would come kind of right in there. So we're on the right direction there. Coming through here like that. See what I'm saying? If we could get these lined up, something like that. Hold them. You know, something like that. That would come under here, almost tuck up into here, something like that, and then go along. I think that'll work pretty good. It's gonna be tight to here. Maybe we could turn this a little bit like that. Yeah, even better. All right, y'all, so I got this thing clamped. We're back at home. We're gonna try to weld this guy to there. See what happens. Well, our last set came out better than the rest of the sets, but yeah, I gave you the close-up. I ain't trying to hide nothing, because yeah, they suck, but hey, we're learning, you know? Learning. That's the best thing anybody can do. So, and it shows you, as we got to the last set, it got better and better and better. So, I mean, it's all about experience and learning, you know? So, just try it, people. You know, you got to give stuff a try. Don't give up on something. Y'all, sit out in your garage for like 10, 15 minutes after you get done welding. Those sparks fly everywhere. They like to get nooks and crannies. Trust me. There's a lot of back and forth. So, I got that bolted back up there, coming through there, kind of. And, you know, it looks pretty good. Could be a little tighter, you know, but what do we, chip foose? So, I bought another, like 90-degree 2.5 here. And I'm hoping that I slide this on, and it kind of lines up in there decently well. And also, hello, little cherry bomb action. Better than nothing. For $27, how do you beat that? There is tax on it too. Frickin' Uncle Sam. So I'm gonna slide this guy on here. And obviously I'm probably not gonna do it like that. Maybe I will and clamp it down or something. That might be the best option. See, it hangs kind of low, and if we could have it something like that, you know, to where maybe we could use like this side and cut it down so we can kind of weld it at an angle. Even that flat to there, like, almost runs this channel pretty good. Wonder if I could slide that on there a little bit. Yeah, if I could cobble something to where we could have it almost like that, that'd be perfect. Because we kind of want this thing tucked up in there, you know? See, we got this setup kind of going here, and I think I'd kind of like to have the clamp on the muffler, because we'll definitely have room if we have this connected to there, if we just welded it. Because then we can just pull this whole assembly piece down by itself. So I'm gonna try to set this up in the car and maybe get a good angle on it. I'm not too sure yet. So I got this cherry bomb on a jack, and I'm gonna try to lift this guy up. And you can almost kind of see, that's kind of what I'm going for right there. We're gonna have to try to figure out how I'm gonna mark that on that pipe back there to kind of keep this like that. I got my Sharpie, so maybe if I make some marks, you know, I kind of gotta have an idea at this thing being up at an angle so that this pipe stays up in that channel like that. Now back here, for right now, I don't know what we're gonna do. I'd like to just have it turn down to the ground, maybe, to where it just goes down and blasts down. So I'm gonna, what would be really nice is if I had my welder and I could just tack this a couple times. That may be an option too. Well, brought the welder over. I'm hoping it works because I run power out here on a very long extension cord. All we need is a couple tack welds, 2 or 3. That's it. Oh yeah. All right, so we're back here. Got the pipe bolted up in there, and I was sitting there thinking, I got really nervous about tire clearance, but we're gonna be totally fine. I don't know why I got nervous about that. I just thought, I was like, man, I hope that doesn't swoop too far in there and get real close to the tire, but we should be good. And she's tucked up there pretty good. I'm gonna slide this cherry bomb on there and see how it looks. That's pretty good, I think. We're definitely gonna need a mount because we can't have all this weight just on this muffler. I'll have to try to figure out, maybe, let me grab this flashlight here. Maybe we could try to take this pan off and like make this hole bigger on one of these bolts and have the hanger go there so it holds it up. Very nice though. I'm happy with that. And for now we'll probably leave it like this, and then maybe in the future we'll try to like make something where it goes back and then comes down or something like that, like a nice long turnout or something like that. Maybe try to replicate like a boom tube. I don't know. So I got the driver's side. This kind of welded up here. So I think I'm gonna climb under there and try to put this guy on. And I'm hoping the pipe we have on here, I'm hoping that this will line up out there. And then we just use another one of these 90-degree tubes to go out. So I'm gonna climb under there, get this on, and see what the heck happens. Yeah, check that out. It's kind of just in the window where we need it. Look how close that is to there. I can almost fit my finger in there. Worst case, we gotta dimple this in or something. So what I'm gonna have to do is go and get another one of those pieces, but I have a feeling that piece that I'm gonna get is gonna kind of come out way far. Unless I could slide it on there. If not, yeah, this thing's definitely gonna have to slide on there some, or cut some of that pipe off and weld it to here to fit behind here. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but I'd like it to be somewhat close to the passenger side. All right, so I'm kind of working on the driver's side here now. I got some stuff lined up, some tubes cut, and unfortunately, the driver's side doesn't have a big like recess in it up into the floor like that side does. So the way this thing's gonna get welded on here, this thing's gonna be kind of just like almost freaking like, we're gonna, hold on a minute, we're gonna be up some, but you're definitely gonna be able to see this thing from outside the car, which I was kind of trying to stay away from. But worst case scenario, maybe we grind this thing down and paint it black or something, or just Scotch-Brite it and paint it black so it kind of blends it a little better than just this big red pipe. But whatever, this is gonna work for now. At least we'll have an exhaust on it. A little hillbilly hot rod action, you know what I'm saying? But whatever, no big deal. So now I'm gonna head back home, weld these again, and I gotta put an O2 sensor in that pipe on the driver's side, that down pipe piece. So maybe we'll be back for some welding. Maybe we'll be back when we're done and kind of tying this thing together. All right, so you got that guy bolted up. It looks like it's gonna fit pretty good. So kind of I think the plan is I'm gonna slide this muffler in there and kind of see how it looks like from the side. So if we had it something like this, see how we can like almost go up in here? Wish I could get a way to have this be able to be held here like that. To be honest with you, if we put a clamp on there, we may be able to have it be held like that. So let's, I got a clamp in the car, so I think we're gonna try to do that. See if it'll hold itself in place. This is kind of close to this pinch weld here, but it's not the end of the world. That passenger side is just different Now, what I could do is take this pipe here and kind of like how I had that other one and pie cut it a little bit and just turn it in a little bit and put a little weld on there. We could do that too, you know. But I think I'm going to go grab a clamp and see what happens. Because just the thing about it is, we don't want some... I don't really want the look of this thing just hanging down here. So if we kind of take this and go up with it, you know, so it's gonna hide a little bit more. The problem with these cars is, well, this style car is that there's no ground effects on here, so you can't really tuck it up away. Now the passenger side worked out great because that floor goes up like a lot more. Like the passenger floor kind of tucks up under here more, so I have more room to put this guy up in here. See how this is almost like flush with air? But what I'm gonna do though, since that's how this floor is on this side, I bought some high temp paint, and I'll probably just end up painting this black and you know, have it be a little bit more hidden. But I'm gonna tighten this clamp up and see if it helps at all. But honestly, what I'm thinking is I'm gonna take this 90 here, or this turn here, and kind of like do a little pie cut like I did before on the other pipe, and tweak that guy in towards that way a little bit, just a tear, and then you know, weld it in place so that this thing kind of sits in more. You want this thing to kind of cock that way. So I think honestly that's what I'm gonna do, instead of messing with this clamp and then like pinch this thing all down, then it gets all tight and then you can't even slide this thing in or out, because that'll be okay. But I think if we cut that and turn it in a little bit more, this will turn out a lot better. All right, y'all, so we got the driver's side on. I put this thing on the ground to kind of show you. See, that one looks pretty good tucked up under there. But like I said, the floorboard on this side sits a lot lower than the passenger side. So this is kind of what you're getting on this side, which isn't too bad. Doesn't bother me that much the more I look at it. But I think I am going to paint that muffler black. Which, whatever. It's just so that you don't see this big red thing while you're riding down the road. Maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment and tell me what you think. All right, y'all. So I think that's going to be it for now. I think that turned out pretty well for our first time trying to build some type of exhaust, at least. I mean, if I had the means here to build it, I'd probably be able to make it a little bit better because I can just kind of tweak it and stuff like that. But, you know, taking this thing off, taking it home, bracket back and forth, it's just a lot of hassle. Maybe one day if I get it back to the house, I'll be able to build something a little bit better. But for right now, this will be good. I'll probably paint that pipe black. I might paint both black. I haven't really decided yet. It's not really been that warm, and it's kind of hard to paint when it's not too warm out. So we'll see what happens with the weather and everything like that. But either way, we got a list going here. I'll kind of flip around here and show you what I got going on. I think I'm missing a few things on here, but this is kind of our list, what we need to get this thing running. I put the transmission dipstick tube in. That was a big fight, but wouldn't have been able to see any of that on video anyway. But fuel lines, I got the parts in for that. I got to get some tranny lines. All we got to do is do a ground for the fuel pump. We don't really need a belt. Power steering hoses, or the return hose, that's optional for running. Radiator hoses, that's optional. Mass airflow, definitely need that. Drive shaft, that's optional. We don't need that to have it be running. Starter, yes, I just got one of those. Exhaust, not so much, but it's almost done anyway, so I'll put that in there. A little bit more wiring as far as, you know, the battery connections and stuff, and we need a freaking battery. So, not too much, you know, we can get down that list pretty good. Once we get the fuel lines done and the fuel pump or the training lines, you know, there's not too much more stuff we need, really, because we got the ECU done and everything like that. I picked that up from the tuner. we got that unlocked so we can run a standalone. So we're not too far off. So hopefully in this next 2 videos or so, we'll have this thing running. Hope you guys maybe learned something from that. Hopefully, you know, if you're nervous about doing welding or something like that, just get some scrap pieces and just practice a little bit, you know, and at least try it. I bought that welder pretty cheap. It was like $300, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I've barely used it. All I've really used it for was, you know, getting studs out of the engine block. But that was the first time actually like kind of welding on an exhaust and making something. So it's a start, you know. So don't be afraid to do stuff and don't be afraid to try stuff. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I gave some confidence in some people because my welding's not that good. Leave a like, leave a comment on what you thought about this video. If you'd like to see something else, hit that subscribe button for me if you'd like to. If not, no big deal. Take it easy.